the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to the Ask the Experts Show with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Enjoy being educated in such topics as personal injury law, community association law, family law, bankruptcy law, along with health show topics like pain management, men's health, and dental implants. Now, sit back and enjoy today's Ask the Experts with host Steve-O.
I got to tell you, this is probably going to embarrass him. Not often do we get the station, the guy who's head of all this, Mr. Duff. I won't give out his last name, but he's doing the show today. That's big time for me. Anyhow, hey, good afternoon.
That's the guy.
That's
That's him. I see him. Okay.
It's his voice on all the commercials. And he makes
I
sure.
always wondered whose voice that was.
Yeah, but he makes sure all these machines here all work and everybody does what they're supposed to do. Tough job. Anyway, thank you, Duff. He always gets commercials done right away. We have, and she wasn't with us last month. We ran her show. We have, I'm telling you, the best, the finest. If you're thinking about, God forbid, you're going to go through a divorce, or you've been through one and you're not happy and you want someone who's really good, Tina's been with us for about 3 years. Tina Lord Law. So good to see you.
Hi, great to see you.
Yeah, did you have a nice Christmas and New Year's Eve?
It was good. It was good. I was a little sick like everybody else.
I know
but
you were.
Yeah, that's okay.
Did you go see Cher?
I didn't see Cher.
Because you go to a lot of concerts. I mean, you go to
Sure.
Yeah, that
no,
was
I
the
missed
big
Cher.
concert at the BBC, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Center. She was
BB&T.
there.
Oh.
Yes. They said she still looks great, still sings great.
She looks amazing.
Well, let's talk about...
That's your next show.
Yeah. Yes. Well, let's talk about family law. And I want you, listen, if you know you have someone who's thinking about a divorce, maybe someone who's not happy with their attorney, this is without a doubt the finest family attorney certified.
Board certified.
Board certified. Now, there's a big difference, and we're going to talk about that. She's not just a family attorney. Board certified, there's not very many in the state of Florida.
Not very many in the state of Florida. There are some, I think it's 275 was the last time I
For
looked.
all of Florida.
275 individual people in Florida are board certified family law attorneys out of over 100,000 lawyers.
Yes. So this makes a difference. And first of all, because there's always new people tuning into the show, tell everybody about your practice.
So I always say this. I am a marital and family law attorney, which is the nice way of saying I'm a divorce attorney. And so I specialize in divorce. I'm board certified, which means that the Florida Bar has designated me as an expert or specialist in this area. And we handle divorces, child support cases, child custody, alimony, asset distribution. We do a lot of modifications of child support, alimony, custody modifications. We have some enforcement actions sometimes when people aren't paying what they're supposed to pay, and restraining order matters, but primarily divorce and then all the things that stem from there.
Did you know there's a lot of people from New York that want to leave New York? I'm sure weather, taxes is another reason, who want to move to Florida.
Yeah.
Who have been through a divorce. Can you help them at all? Or do they have to use somebody in New York?
If they've been through a divorce and then there's something they need to do post-divorce legally, typically if the other spouse is still in New York and they move out of state, they have to still do their matter in New York.
Okay.
But if everybody moves out of state and one of them is in Florida, then it still depends, because if you've got a child-related issue, it depends what the home state of the child is. And you have to look at things like that. But yes, sometimes I have cases where people, I also have cases where people live out of state and there's a Florida matter going on and they hire me, and we do their case all the time. So
I think a great compliment to you, because you've told me this before, you've actually been hired from, I think, Orlando or Tampa.
Sure.
I don't know the county.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Hillsborough, Pinellas, right. All over the place. Yeah, it depends. I mean, people, this is what I always tell people when they're looking for a lawyer. That's an important piece of this is when you're looking to hire an attorney. And I tell people, talk to a few. You know, you're interviewing who you're going to hire, and you're going to work very, very closely with that person. So you have to feel comfortable with them. You have to feel confident that they know what they're doing, obviously. I would suggest, and I tell people, whether it's me or someone else,
Right.
if you're going to hire an attorney for a family law case, you should really try to look for someone who is board certified, because that means that they have substantial experience in family law. For me, it's all I do. You can be board certified as long as you've got, I forget, it's a very high percentage of your practice, a substantial percentage of your practice. But, you know, that's a good thing to look for. But, yeah, I'll have people that'll call around attorneys. They'll interview a few, and they happen to like me, happen to feel comfortable with me and my skill and expertise. And so they'll hire me from a different county. I will go. I'll go, but
I hope everybody understands, because I really, especially with the show, it bothers me if I have an attorney that has shingles all the way down to the floor. They do personal injury, they do criminal, they do family law, they do Social Security. I'm telling you, this is, I think, when it comes to family law, you should have someone that solely concentrates on family law. There is, when they sit down with you, they're going to find out. There's nothing you're going to tell them that you haven't even heard about or that you don't know the law on. And I've had, I mean, because Renee, she had an attorney, had 5 areas that and he wasn't board certified in any of them.
I remember her telling me that.
And she didn't do good, or he didn't do good for her.
Yeah, and I've talked about this with a lot of other attorneys. We talk about it a lot. I mean, and I have cases all the time against other lawyers, and, you know, no personal disrespect to anyone, but yeah, I do see lawyers that sort of dabble in family law, or they do 10 different areas of the law, and I see that sometimes, where it's like you can tell they haven't practiced substantially in family law and had a lot of divorce cases, and they don't know all the intricacies. I think divorce is one, I think it's the hardest, but, you know, I think at least one of the most difficult areas of law to practice and to know, because there's so many intricate things. Right. There's a lot of intricacies. There's a lot of detail. There are a lot of, we deal with every issue. We deal with,
laws,
you know,
seem like they change a
assets
lot
and child issues
with
and
family law.
What's that?
Laws seem like they change a lot.
The laws
in
change
family
a
law.
lot, yes, because the times change, and you're dealing with families and children, and so the laws surrounding a lot of those things, and obviously, you know, couples and different types of relationships and things. So the laws have changed and will continue to change as families change. So it's important to keep up on that. So I think that that's one of the things that I tell people to look for. Again, if I have to even tell a family member, a friend, if you're looking for an attorney, look for somebody who really just practices family law, if possible, 100%, because there's so much to know. There's just so much to know. And when I sit down with clients, prospective clients or current clients, and we talk about getting their case together, or even if we're working on an agreement, or if we're in mediation, or we're preparing for trial, there are so many things that the client hasn't even thought of, and they don't even realize need to be dealt with or addressed, the detail of it. So that's really important for,
because you're going to bring that to their attention, and they're going to go, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something, and some people like me hired a guy that I went to college with, thinking, okay, I can trust him. Don't ever do that, because, and we're talking about laws that change. In Texas, where I was, I had 3 kids, and you pay child support for 3 kids. And then when one of them graduates, you still pay the same amount.
Yeah.
Well, they changed that law to, after one gets through with high school, then it's like 20% less, the way it should be.
Right. They changed
But
it here,
know
too.
that.
You didn't used to have to put it in the agreements or the judgment, but they changed it here, too, so that now you have to put that in there,
And
so
it
that when
should
your
be.
oldest child emancipates, you don't have to go back to court and modify it. It's already in there automatically.
But see, that's because I went to a friend that I thought I could trust. And I mean, you know, being a nice guy and trusting are 2 different things. You got to have someone that really knows the law. And I don't know, every time we do the show, I think about people I know that try to skimp a little bit, or this one was cheaper. I'm telling you, it will definitely come back and hit you in the behind.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't think you've ever heard me be that passionate. But
No.
See, with you, I know. I mean, I've learned so much about family law through you, and I know that this is all you do. Now, you cover Dade, Broward, mainly Dade, Broward,
Palm Beach.
and Palm
Yeah.
Beach,
Yeah.
even though your office is in Boca. Very easy to get to. You're just right off of 95.
Yeah, Yamato and Dixie.
Yeah, real simple to get to. How long have you been practicing law?
I have been practicing for over 18 years. And
If you're watching the show, which you can watch the show, you can see how she practiced for 18 years.
yeah, I graduated law school when I was 2 years old. Just kidding.
And you
so
practice, let me tell you,
yeah.
family law, it's very emotional.
it is.
What you
yeah.
have to go through. I've had a lot of family attorneys said, you know what, the money's okay, but it's so hard what you have to, especially when
It's
there's
not
kids
for
involved.
every attorney.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had, like I said, I have had cases, or I've had a case, once in a while, somebody takes for an attorney who doesn't really practice family law, they'll take it for a friend or something like that, and they'll literally say to me, my own opposing counsel will say, how do you do this?
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's not for everybody. And I think it's part of our job, even though we're human beings and we can be sensitive to the needs of our client and sensitive to all the issues that are going on. And it's difficult. It's a lot of difficult
You have a
issues.
lot of tissues,
but,
don't you?
But it's important for the attorney to not be, to take the emotion out of
Right.
it from their perspective, because the client is usually the one fueling, fueled with emotion, and that's our job not to do that.
You go through a lot of tissue, I bet,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
because of what this is.
I'm constantly asking my assistant to come replace the tissue box on my desk.
Well, and I got to ask, we still get so many letters. I think the grandparents probably the biggest one. Do I have any rights? And I already know the answer to
Yeah.
this, but do I have any rights at all as a grandparent?
Not in Florida. So, and it's funny because I get this question a lot still too. I know, and you say you get tweets about it and
Yes.
all that, but yeah, the grandparents will generally see the child or children when the parents, when the mother and father see the children. So they don't have actual specific rights to have separate time or any kind of visitation or time sharing allotted in a judgment for them. The only exception to that, I guess, for Florida purposes, would be if there was a state that allowed them to have grandparents' rights in some kind of order, and then now everybody's in Florida, and Florida will enforce another state's court order, for
Okay.
grandparents' rights. But in Florida, there's no law that gives them any rights to time sharing.
Explain to everybody about no-fault divorce, because it sounds like, it wasn't my fault.
Yeah, it was my fault.
That's not what it is.
It was nobody's fault. So no fault divorce, it means a couple of things. I think technically and legally what it means is that you don't have to prove grounds in Florida to get a divorce. There are still, I believe, some states where you have to prove something extreme like abuse or adultery or fraud even, or something like that to actually get a divorce. But in Florida, you don't have to have actual grounds. All you need to do is what we put in the pleadings, the initial petition, is we put the marriage is irretrievably broken, and that's a legal phrase. And it means that the marriage is over and there's nothing the court can do to put it back together, and no one's ever going to ask why, whose fault it was, who tried harder to keep it together, who went to counseling, who ran out of counseling,
Right.
anything like that. They're really never going to ask, why the marriage broke down. It's just broken. And the other thing that it means generally, sort of in layperson's terms, is that we can't punish our spouse for their bad behavior. So I have a lot of people that will call me and they'll say, "Oh, this one, cheated. I have a person. Private investigator I got, and I have photos, and I can prove it, and all this stuff." Well, you're not going to get something more than you otherwise
Right.
would have gotten because your spouse was maybe not such a good person, or even the abuse thing. They really, so we don't have fault, we don't have punishment for things that maybe make the other person not such a good person.
Well, we're sitting here with attorney Tina Lewert Law. We're going to go to break. When we come back, I only have 1,000 questions for you today.
I know, I see that.
I've limited it down. I don't even
see
need
the long
sheet.
list.
We'll be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact Attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
And we're back. This is the Ask the Expert show. We're on 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. Enjoy your ride home with our show. We have attorney, board certified, very important, board certified, Tina Lewert of Lewert Law. Give everybody your phone number and your website address.
Sure. The phone number at the office is 561-544-6861. The website is lewertlaw.com. It's LEWERT.
I'm telling you something, it is a great, great website. You should go visit it. You know, we get a lot of questions about children.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big questions that we're still getting is, how do the courts figure out how much child support? So is there a formula to it? Okay.
Yeah, there's a formula for child support in Florida. I get a lot of people that ask me, because I think in some states, I know, in some states, they do child support as like a percentage of the paying the payor spouse's income. We don't do that. Both parties' incomes go into the equation. So there's an equation: mother's income, father's income.
What if mother's is higher than father's?
Then maybe
Does
she's
it
going
make
to
a
pay
difference?
child support.
Okay.
You know, so, and it depends, because you could actually, believe it or not, you could have one person's income be higher than the other. But what also is factored into the equation is the number of overnights per year that each party has with the children. And then one party's going to pay health insurance premium for the children. And so who's paying that? And so there are some things that sort of, make the number go up and down and swayed in one person. So you could actually have one spouse that makes more than the other, but depending on the division of the overnights, primarily the opposite spouse could pay child support to the other. And generally, I mean, a lot of people are doing 50-50 or striving for 50-50 more and more. That's not the law. The law is sort of like whatever works. There's no presumed division of custody or number of overnights or anything like that. But I do see a lot of that. And so, yeah, if I have people with relatively similar incomes and they're doing 50-50, the child support might be very, very small. So, but there's a formula, there's an equation. We all have software programs that we plug in. It does take into, because it's the net income, so after taxes and certain deductions and things. So, but yeah, there's a mathematical formula, as opposed to alimony in Florida, for which there is no mathematical formula, which is a whole other thing.
People fighting over their dogs. Who gets the dog?
I see that, but unfortunately, and that's a good question, because I'm a dog person and a dog lover, but dogs and pets are, according to the law, they are personal property. So there's no like dog visitation or custody. I've seen people put that in agreements plenty, but it's by agreement. So if you went to court and a judge was making the decision, they can't do anything like that, like doggy time sharing or anything. But yeah.
So another question I get is, can I file myself? And I got to tell you, what's the old saying that if a person acts as their own attorney, there's a saying
as a client, a fool for a client, or something. Yeah.
Client.
Yes. Yeah. So
this is not where you want to try to save money, because this could, like mine went on for 14, 15 years. That's a long time. Yes.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Yeah. I see people file. And this is the thing. I believe that there is a very high number of people. Like in other words, most people will try to file on their.
You're kidding.
I
would
know.
Never.
And rarely will I tell someone. Once in a great while. Sometimes, yeah. Once in a great while, I will tell someone who calls me for consultation that maybe they should try filing on their own first. Sometimes it's a matter of finances, but we're talking about if you have no assets and no children and really nothing to divide, and you've been married for 5 minutes.
Sure, yes.
Maybe then you can file
Right, no,
and
I
get it done, and
understand
it's a bunch of paperwork. But it's really more than just forms. And they make these forms. The Florida Supreme Court has forms for people who are self-represented. You can go file, but to be honest,
I see a nightmare.
I won't give you
beginning
my
to happen.
personal opinion, but I've heard others say that, or opine, that the forms aren't that great, and they leave a lot out, especially if you do have assets or and children and custody matters and parenting issues, and there's just so much that detail that we put in, as attorneys that goes in that these forms there aren't blanks for everything in there, and sometimes you file, even the initial filing, sometimes we ask for certain things or make certain allegations in the pleadings on purpose. It's very, very strategized sometimes. So, it's not the best idea to do that. And I think I have seen a lot of people try to do it. Of course, they're saving some money, but they end up coming back to me later. And then there's some things by that time, if they finish the case or whatever, that I can't fix, that they can't get out of. So
I've heard that expression. I did it myself. It was the dumbest thing I ever did. I regret it so much every day. And I kind of understand that. And
at least I see people that go do it without ever even talking to an attorney. At least call some attorneys and try to get a consultation. I mean, talk to an attorney, get some legal advice about how this should go, what your rights are, what your rights aren't. And I just see so many people that they file themselves and they waive rights, they waive things that they could have had, and then it's too late once they sign something and they can't get it back.
If someone, I guess, is sharing custody, but wants to go back in and get full custody, they should have an attorney, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, well, full custody is, I hear a lot of people use it. I hear a lot of people use the phrase full custody. It's not really a thing. What does full custody mean? Does that mean the other parent never sees the child at all? Like, I don't know always what that means.
They don't have any say-so on the decisions.
Yeah. So, and there are two aspects of custody. One is the decision-making, which we call parental responsibility. It's,
I know you had a name for that.
Yeah. So we call it parental responsibility, and it's typically shared. There's a presumption that it's shared and equal, and everybody has to consent to all decisions for the children, health care and education decisions, and even extracurricular activities and things like that. Everything has to be agreed upon, but sometimes you'll have people that have what is called sole parental responsibility, meaning one person has the final say. And that's really, it's harder to get. It's a lot harder to get. Typically, there's a presumption in the divorce that it's best interest of the child to have shared and for both parents to be equal parents. But occasionally, there are problems, and you've got a burden of proof to show that one parent having all the decision-making rights is in the child's best interest. So it's really about what's best for the child and what's detrimental to the child and all that. So those are the cases where, we usually litigate over that, because most parents are not going to say, yeah, sure, you take all the decision-making rights and I'll have none.
Well, I know someone who's listening now, because I just wrote, and we gave him your phone number, and he said, I'm very worried that my spouse will not grant me divorce. They don't get to do that, do
No. If somebody files for divorce, if one person files for divorce and they pursue it, it's going to happen. So typically, procedurally, what happens is you file for divorce, the other person gets served with a petition, and there's some financial disclosure that's exchanged. Most of the counties are going to require at this point that you go to mediation. I'm seeing more and more people go to sometimes 1 and 2, and sometimes 2 and 3 mediations.
Wow.
Instead of going to trial. If you go to mediation, the goal is to reach a settlement agreement. We call it a marital settlement agreement. That's your what I say, the meat and potatoes of the case. It's going to lay out everything. Who's going to get what, all the assets, the division of assets, and a parenting plan if you have children. And if your spouse has to sign that, has to participate in the case, go to mediation. But your spouse, if they don't show up to anything, if they say, I'm not doing this, I'm not participating, I'm not giving you a divorce, you set a hearing or trial in front of the judge, and the judge will default them and grant the divorce.
You're going to get the divorce.
You're going to get the divorce. If you want a divorce in Florida, you're going to get a divorce.
Well, you know, when we come to the end of the show like we are, I always ask you this, and I love the answers you get. Why should I hire you? I am looking for an attorney. I'm thinking about divorce. Or I'm not happy with my attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Tell everybody why they should give you a call and just come sit down with you.
Well, yeah, and I don't necessarily try to sell myself
She's not
too
a
hard, because
salesperson.
no, either like I said, people, I always tell people, call a few attorneys. You know, maybe you don't, maybe you're comfortable with someone else for whatever reason. And I'm sensitive to the needs of people. Sometimes people say, oh, they prefer a man, they prefer a woman, whatever it is. I do have a lot of men that call and say they prefer to hire a female attorney for whatever reason in a child custody case. Whatever. Everyone has their reasons, but generally, I find that my clients tell me they're comfortable with me. I explain things to them in a way they can understand. I'm there for them. That's another thing. Family law, when you have a divorce attorney, typically that person the job doesn't stop at 5 p.m. on Friday. We have issues that come
Sometimes
up,
I'll get an email
emergencies
from you at 10,
and
11
things.
o'clock at
Yeah,
night.
absolutely. So we're sort of always there. And so you need to find somebody that you click with in the way that you need. And also, I say who's board certified, who does this.
Give everybody your phone number again and write this
Thanks.
down. Like, you might have a friend that you heard the show today and you think they should talk to Tina. Give everybody your phone number.
Thanks. Sure. It's 561-544-6861. And the website is lewertlaw.com, LEWERT.
And Tina's with us every month, and I love when you come on the show because it's you see how fast it goes. So Tina will be here again next month, and we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk about anti-aging. We'll be right back.
Oh, I need that.